This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, I'm going to show you how to clean your dog or cat's ears at home. Hello you guys, welcome again back to my channel. This edition was inspired by a viewer who sent in a question around how to best clean their dog's ears at home. What I'm going to do is use Lewis once again. He's my very patient demonstration dog. Thank you, Lewis. And I'm going to show you how to properly clean your dog or your cat's ears at home. And things I think you should be using, exactly what you're going to need, and what you shouldn't do to be careful. First, so what do you need to start? Well, to begin with, you're going to need a dog or cat, someone like Lewis who's in need of an ear cleaning. Most of you are watching this video because you've probably have a dog that's got a recurring ear infection or a cat with something like ear mites. Secondly, you need a way to properly restrain your dog or cat. Ideally, they're up a little bit. I've got an exam table here, up on some type of table, somewhere where you can keep them in one spot, and at the same time know that they're going to be shaking their head, they're going to get debris. So you either maybe want them on the kitchen floor, and ideally you have someone helping you so they're actually holding your dog at the same time. Secondly, you're going to need something to wipe up the stuff that's going to be shooken out. Either an old towel you can throw out. I've just got paper towel here, because expect some of that fluid is going to come out of your dog or your cat's ear. You're going to need something to use as a cleanser. So this is a veterinary one called Epi Otic. It's like a couple different ingredients. It helps actually break down that waxy debris in that ear and help get some of that material out. A couple other things you can consider using, which I'm going to demonstrate in the video. This is apple cider vinegar. I'll use it as a 1-to-1 dilution, 1/2 apple cider, 1/2 water, and use that. It's a great one to help break down the debris, flush the ears, and actually naturally treat the more common causes of ear infections, either yeast or bacteria. And the last thing you could use or consider using to clean your dog's ear, I've got here, this is olive oil. I think you guys can see it there. Maybe not. Here it is. Here's just a bottle of olive oil. And what I'll do is I'll use about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. You can measure that out. And I like to put something else in it that sort of is also slightly anti-inflammatory. So what I've got actually here is this is an Aloe Vera Gel. So I've got about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of aloe vera, and it's a great combination. Then the last thing is you're going to need things to actually do the cleaning themselves. So I've just got these little 2x2 gauzes. You can use here. You can also use a cotton ball. And I've also just gone and picked up some Q-tips. So you guys, I've tried to zoom in on Lewis's ear just to make it easier for me to explain exactly what's happening when you're doing an ear cleaning. So this big floppy here, this is called his pinna. All the debris is within the ear itself. So what we're trying to do is get into the ear canals, but obviously not damage in any way the eardrum. So there's 2 parts. So if you look here, this is his external ear. Often there's a fair amount of debris. He actually has some debris in it. Got a bit of black debris. He's likely got some yeast in that ear. Then there's an ear canal that goes straight up and down. That's called the vertical ear canal. So if you imagine it going this way, then there's an ear canal that goes to the side. It's called the horizontal ear canal. Then at the end of that horizontal ear canal is actually the tympanum or the eardrum. So what we're trying to do is get all that fluid down the vertical ear canal into the horizontal ear canal, stopping at the eardrum, flushing all that debris out of that ear. So if you've got a dog in particular that has recurring ear infections, this is something you should be doing at home regularly, ideally at least once a week, using some of the different things that I'm going to discuss. So if you guys that are watching are cat owners, likewise just drop, the principles are all essentially exactly the same. The one big thing that I need to impress is obviously your cat is much smaller. You have to be much more careful, especially if you're going to use something like a Q-tip. But the initial principles are the same, and I'll go over exact same thing, how you could be cleaning your cat's ears as well. But let's start it with using Lewis as an example. So to begin with here, I've got about a third of a cup of, this is apple cider vinegar in a metal container here. I'm gonna drop equivalent amount of water. So we've got this diluted down, so it's a 1-to-1 mixture. The big thing with using the vinegar, it's great in terms of being anti-yeast, antibacterial, helping break down debris, also treating some of these more common causes of ear infections. But if your dog or your cat has really red inflamed ears, you don't want to be using the vinegar. It's very sore, so think of any time you've got vinegar on a cut. So if we're seeing these open wounds, it's red in any way, Lewis's isn't, but if it was, I wouldn't be using the vinegar at all. Then I would be using the combination that I just talked about earlier with the olive oil and vitamin E, or you can use olive oil, and I've used 1 or 2 tablespoons of aloe vera gel. So now let's get on to the cleaning here. And I want you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. So I've got this mixture, the 1-to-1 mixture of apple cider vinegar and water. Then what I really like to have is a syringe. The other thing I didn't mention in the intro. It's probably the best thing to do the flushing. You can also use, some type of plastic dispensable bottle that you can squeeze the water out. Ideally, just pick up a syringe. This is a 35cc syringe. Any pharmacy is going to be able to sell you these syringes, or your veterinary clinic as well. And what you're trying to do is take up enough fluid to fill up the ear canal, into those ear canal, and flush out the debris. So pretty typically, as I'm looking at doing something like about a teaspoon per 10 pounds. A teaspoon is this much, about 5 mils. Something like Lewis, I'll start out with about a tablespoon. So that's about 15 mils is 1 tablespoon. And what I want to do is just tilt his head slightly to the side, as you can see me doing here. I've got my paper towel ready. I'm going to have my paper towel down here, because I know fluid's going to come out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to seat that syringe just inside the ear, because I'm going to squirt that fluid into the ear and do a good squirt filling up his ear. See, some of it's already running out. Then what I'm going to do is just really grab the base of the ear, really rub it, squish it together really well. You can actually, I think if you guys are listening, you can hear that fluid squirting back and forth. So what I'm doing, I'm really rubbing the base of that ear. So I'm rubbing the vertical, the horizontal ear canals really well, really working that fluid into the ear, trying to break up the debris. And I want you to do that ideally for 30 seconds to a minute. Often what I found with many of the clients is they just don't do it long enough. So they don't break enough debris up. You don't work that fluid into the ear canal. So you've done that for 30 seconds to a minute. Then the next thing what I want to do is wipe out as much fluid as, I'm going to wipe out as much fluid as possible. I'm just using these Gauze, the 2x2 Gauze. So putting my finger in as far as I can get into my Lewis's ear, because I know I'm not going to hurt his ear canal. I'm not going to hurt his eardrum in any way by just flushing and by just using my finger and these Gauze. You see here, good boy, Lewis. And there's a fair, if you look there, right, there's a fair amount of black debris coming out of his ear. He's been shaking his ear lately, so he's really due for a bit of an ear cleansing. Good boy, Lewis. The same principle applies if I was to use the olive oil and the aloe vera. Exact same thing. Or if I likewise using the Epi Otic. We're filling up the ear canal, rubbing the base for 30 seconds to a minute. I'm using this 2x2 Gauze or a cotton ball to wipe as much out as I can using my finger. So looks like I've got most of that fluid out now. And then what I would do with caution is follow up using some type of Q-tip. So then in using the Q-tips, as I said, I'm keeping it parallel to his head, just pushing it into primarily the vertical part of the ear canal. I'm pushing it into the cracks and crevices, just digging up that debris. The big point for doing this safely and not hurting your dog or cat is you don't put a lot of force as you go in, and you're just fairly gentle. Just imagine you're just rubbing the base of the skin. So just imagine, you can just touch a Q-tip to your finger. If you push in hard, it hurts, but if you just rub the base, and that's all you're doing, is you're just rubbing that debris out. And what I found is when clients follow those specific directions, not pushing hard, just rubbing the tissue adjacent to the skin, so rubbing into those cracks and crevices of the ear, they've never actually harmed the ear canal. Good boy, Lewis. So getting as much debris out as you can, and I find using in combination with the 2x2, the gauze or the cotton ball, and a Q-tip is the best way to thoroughly clean that ear. Thank you for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets of how to clean your pet's ears at home. First, I want you to click that link in the box above that can subscribe you to my channel. Then you go ahead, click that link in the box below. I can send you my free books and videos on how to heal your pets at home with my top natural remedies.